So I welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. We are starting with a bhajan in glorification of Lord Nityananda. Mataji, Kamadaki Mataji, please lead Mataji.
You can lead. You have a very nice voice.
I don't know the bhajan, Mataji.
Okay. I'm just a simple melody, not so much.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. So you can all, then you can, however you want to improve, you can do so. Jaya,
Okay.
Jaya. Oh, should I start?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Okay. Jaya, Jaya, Nityananda, Rohini Kumara.
Jaya, Jaya, Nityananda,
Rohini Kumara.
Patita Uddhara Lagi Subahu Pasar.
Patita Uddhara Lagi
Subahu Pasara.
Bahu means arms. He spreads his arms. Gada Gada Mathura Mathura Adha Bola.
Gada Gada Madhura Madhura Adha Bola.
Jare dekhe tare preme dari de aankhon. Jare Jagamaga lochana goraye nirantara.
Jagamaga lochana goraye nirantara.
Sonara kamalena shiraye brahmara.
Sonara kamalena
shiraye brahmara.
Dayara Thakura Nitai Paradukha Jani.
Dayara
Thakura Nitai Paradukha Jani.
Hari Namera Mala Gati Dila Jane Jane.
Hari Namera Mala Gati Dila Jane Jane.
Papi Pasandiyata Karila Dalani.
Papi Pasandiyata
Karila Dalani.
Dinohina Jane Kaila Prema Pitarane.
Dinahina Jane
Kaila Pitarane.
Hare Gauranga Bali Pade Gumi Tale.
Ahare
Gauranga
Bali Pade Bhumi
Tale.
Sharira Bijila Nitaira Nayanera Jale.
Sharira Bijila
Nayanera Jale.
Vrindavana Dasamane Ei Bisharila.
Vrindavana
Dasamane Bisharila.
Dharani upare kiba Sumeru parila.
Dharani upare
kiba Sumeru parila.
This is Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Anand Ram ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Kamadaki Mata. Thank you for teaching.
I know I'm not so singer, but then this is how we are singing, just simple melody, so then everybody can sing.
Yes.
So,
thank you, Mata.
So, you want me to read? Translate?
Yes, Mata.
Glory, glory to Nityananda. He is Lord Balaram himself. To deliver the fallen sinners, he extends his two arms. His half words spoken in a choked voice are the sweetest nectar. Whomever he sees, he hugs in the ecstasy of spiritual love. His eyes are always restless. They are like two black bees flying among golden lotus flowers. Lord Nitai is the master of mercy. Seeing the people tormented by troubles, he sings for them a necklace of Lord Hari's holy names. To person after person, he gives that necklace. The arrogant blasphemers and sinners he ripped into shreds. To the poor fallen people, he gives the gift of ecstatic spiritual love. Calling out, "Oh, oh, Gauranga!" he falls down. He falls to the ground. His whole body is soaked with tears. In his heart, Vrindavan Das thinks, now Lord Nityananda is like a golden Mount Sumeru fallen to the ground. Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Nityananda Ram ki jai.
Jai. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mataji.
I don't know if anybody wants to correct the spelling in the song.
Huh.
There's the fourth line. This is Jare Dekhe Tare Prem Preme Dari. It's a J, but there is a difference in there. I don't know I don't know how to correct in the computer, sir.
Yeah.
And then Dagamangal Vichanaguru, it is Sonar. That's how it's Bengali. This is a Bengali song in Bengali. So it's a Sonar. So it's not Sonar. This is Sonar. Kamale and Akshira Brahma. Then at the sixth one, it's only AHA, but it's a H before it's a ha ha, like we just say oh Gauranga. It's ha ha Gauranga, and like a lamenting ha ha Gauranga. He calls out to Gauranga and he settles down on the ground. And at the bottom, the last one is a Dharani. Dharani Upar, the first verse. It's Dharani Upar Kema Sumeru Padila.
Yes, ma'am.
This is how it goes out. And we will have one more song next time. And then we are going to India. Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Then we are going to read. I don't know what the sound is.
Too much disturbance, Radhe.
Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, this question is for formality, Mataji. Mataji, I have some questions regarding the Bengali content. Can I talk to you later, Mataji?
Yes, this song?
Not this one, like it's the other one, Akroda Prema Paramananda. So.
Akroda Paramananda. Oh, this very nice song. That's what I was thinking before, but in the morning class, Jay and Advaita Chandra Prabhu sang this. Very nice.
Sure, Mataji, I'll call you later. I don't want to take time now, Mataji. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you so much for thanks to everyone who joined today. We are continuing the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta reading, and we are in volume 2. If you are following the thing on Veda base, it's volume 2. But if you are following your books, it is the last book, which is volume number 7. And we have to go to Latin America. Once you go to the chapter Latin America, you can go to April 5. Anyone remembers where we stopped last time?
Yes, Mataji. It was saying it was better to play guitar expertly than a sitar incompetently.
Mataji, which chapter?
Zurich and New York.
Sorry, that's where the mistake was. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And Mataji, volume 7, it is page 238. Those who are following the book, yeah, the new book, 7th book, it's 238.
Okay, so we are reading from here. This is the point that Shyama Supriya Mataji gave. Is this correct? New York, she has given this paragraph.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. 1 moment. It starts. We will be starting with Radha Vallabha.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if anyone would like to start reading, please start, Mataji.
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Amrita ki jai. New York, April 5, 1973. Radha Vallabha, seeing that it was such a hellish place, it was always wonderful when Prabhupada would come to Brooklyn. The neighbors, the Italians hated us, and the Puerto Russian like us, but wanted to rob us. It was just an abominable dark, faithy neighborhood full of hate. When Prabhupada would come, the devotee would fill the streets. They would line the step of the Brooklyn temple, all cheering with their arms in the air. As Prabhupada would walk through, he was always pleased to come to Brooklyn to devotee. To see all the devotees in that horrible place, to see the praise and to see the new paintings. He always appreciate seeing Radha Govinda, offering his obeisance to them, leading Kirtana and giving lectures in the Brooklyn temple. Somebody will read Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, we read all that actually. It is the next Radha Vallabha. Sorry, Mataji. We read all that.
I think in my I have Latin America.
Yeah, it is already read what Mataji already read. It is the next Radha Vallabha, Mataji. It is after Nayan Bhirama after that. After that Prabhu, there is again Radha Vallabha coming. That time it is.
I think it's Latin America has been 7. From there, I think. I don't know.
Prabhupada was complaining that the books...
Yeah, you can read Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Radha Vallabha. Prabhupada was complaining that the books weren't coming out. Later on, someone came over to the press and said that Prabhupada had found a spelling mistake. It was a big mistake in the misuse of a single word. So I went and asked Prabhupada where the mistake was. He said, I don't know. I think it was in that chapter there. So I pulled out all the flats and looked for it. He said, no, maybe it was that book, that one. I pulled out more sheets and he said, no, I think it was in the torn one. And then after I had pulled out all the sheets, he said, never mind. just printed. At that point, I could see that that was Prabhupada's attitude towards his book. I could see he wasn't satisfied that we spent so much time trying to fix all the spelling and composing errors. In this case, he wanted to get the book out, even if it meant later he had to correct the mistake. Balavanta. I was in Atlanta and we had just done political preaching by running for mayor of the city. Prabhupada called me to come to New York and see him. When I went into his room, he wanted to talk politics. He had different arguments. He said, so what do they say? I said, Prabhupada, they say it is not practical. Our program is not practical. Prabhupada said, it is not practical because they will not take to it. Otherwise, it is practical. It is the only solution. Prabhupada said the rascals would not take it, and yet if they did, it would solve their problems. He said, we have no complicated political program, only one program. Our program is chant Hare Krishna. That's all. And if the people will meet together regularly and chant Hare Krishna, they will be successful. I would give Prabhupada all the arguments I had received, and he would always defeat them. Kirtiraj, I had to take Prabhupada to the Indian consulate to arrange that they grant devotees visas. In the conversation with the consul, Prabhupada raised his voice loudly and spoke strongly in Bengali. None of us had any idea what was being said except for the few English words throughout the conversation, but we could understand that he was speaking quite forcefully to the men. At the end of the conversation, Prabhupada told me to present the list of devotees going to India and arrange to gather their passports. He said that the consul agreed to grant them 1-year visa. We finished the meeting and went out to the car. In the meantime, it had gotten dark and started to rain very hard. As we sat in the car, Prabhupada said, I spoke very strongly to him, didn't I? Anybody want to continue from them?
Okay. Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I agreed. And then Prabhupada looked at us again and said, yes, I can do this, but you cannot. He said, I am an old man. They don't mind. They don't take me seriously. But if you were to speak to someone who was able, older than you or your age, and I don't know what it is, and if you speak very strongly, they will become offended. But I am an old man, so I can do this, but you cannot. Then as we were driving through the rush hour traffic and the rain, I was nervous because Prabhupada was in the car. It was difficult to see because the windows were fogging over. I was thinking it was such a, nasty, horrible weather. Then all of a sudden Prabhupada turned to me and said, the rain is very pleasing. Without the rain, nothing on the earth could be. I was shocked because it was as if he was reading my mind. I had been cursing and condemning the weather. And Prabhupada turned to me casually and said, the rain was nice. As we were driving, Prabhupada asked if we had noticed that there was written on the plaque as we entered the Indian consulate. Although we had all stopped and glanced at it, we all had to tell Prabhupada that none of us could remember. Prabhupada then said that an intelligent man notices all of his surroundings. He even notices how many beams are in the ceiling above his head. Hare Krishna. He said one time one of his friends asked him, "Do you know how many cars there are in Punjab's main express?" Prabhupada said, he told the man how many cars there were exactly, and that he was right. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Another time, when Prabhupada was in New York, he went to see a building on Park Avenue for sale. We were thinking of acquiring it for the New York temple. It was a very big building on the upper side of Park Avenue. We pulled up on the opposite side of the street in front of a small Spanish grocery store. We got out of the car and looked over at the building. The front doors of the building were open, and due to light from the front hall, a golden glow was coming out through the open doors into the evening darkness. Prabhupada said, Sri Gauranga Hall. Prabhupada and Lilamrta were speaking about the possibility of buying this building, and the next thing I knew, Lilamrta hit me in the arm and said, "Prabhupada wants a 7-Up." I looked at Prabhupada and said, "Prabhupada, 7-Up?" Prabhupada nodded yes. But I repeated, "Prabhupada, do you really mean 7-Up?" Again he nodded yes. I said, "You mean it's lemony with bubbles? Is that what you mean?" Prabhupada again said 7-Up. So I went into the store and brought a can of 7-Up. I went out to the street and gave it to Lilamrta, who popped open the top and gave it to Prabhupada as we stood there on Park Avenue in our dhotis. Prabhupada held the can up and poured the drink straight into his mouth without touching the can to his lips. When we drove back to the temple, it was the biggest story of the day. Prabhupada drank 7-Up on Park Avenue. Radha Vallabha. We could always tell that Prabhupada was pleased that we were staying in that horrible place to preach his mission. We could always sense he felt New York was the important place to preach because he had first gone there, and that he was pleased that we were continuing where he had first brought Krishna consciousness to the West. A letter from Prabhupada to Kirtiraj and his wife, Hari Puja, 1973. You are one of the trusted managers of the New York temple. I am very much glad to see that the standard of temple activities is so nice. So Krishna has given you American intelligence, and I think that New York City is the greatest city in the world. So all you managers cooperate together and do something gorgeous. That is my instruction to you, and if you can do it, Krishna will be very much pleased with you. Thank you, Mataji. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Mataji. Is there anyone else who would like to continue?
Can I read?
Yeah, this is the next chapter 65, A World Tour. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Hare Krishna, Anishwari Mata.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. From Bombay, Srila Prabhupada planned a world tour beginning January 25th. That world tour would take... I don't know if it's my screen or your screen. It keeps blacking out on me. Okay. From Bombay, Srila Prabhupada planned a world tour beginning January 25th that would take him to 12 major cities within 55 days. There. Okay. Within 65 days, ending back in Bombay. His journey would not only completely orbit the planet eastward, but would dip into the southern hemisphere as far south as Venezuela. It would be the 8th time Srila Prabhupada had traveled around the world in his 10 years of preaching since going to America from India in 1965. He would enter 7 different countries and travel 34,000 miles. Due back in India by March for the second international gathering of his disciples at Srila Mayapura, Srila Prabhupada would have to move quickly. Almost 1,000 ISKCON devotees from all over the world were planning to be in India for this year's festival. This year was very special because after years of work and 2 prematurely announced openings, Srila Prabhupada would at last hold the grand opening of the ISKCON Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan and install the deities of Gaur Nitai, Krishna Balaram and Radha Syama Sundara. Srila Prabhupada had come to Vrindavan in September 1974 desiring to open the temple on Krishna's appearance day, but he had been disappointed by delays in construction. At that time, Srila Prabhupada became seriously ill. It needs to move it up a little, Mataji. Hare Krishna? Oh, okay. At that time, Srila Prabhupada became seriously ill in Vrindavan. His fever dangerously high. He had given permission to devotees in all these temples to hold 24-hour kirtana to pray for his recovery. He had gradually regained his health, and he was now eating and translating again after several weeks. Srila Prabhupada wanted to travel before the Mayapur Vrindavan festival, but he had been delayed in Bombay, waiting for the local government to grant the no objection certificate so construction of this temple could begin. When Srila Prabhupada's governing body commission secretary for South America, Hridayananda Goswami, wrote asking him to please visit South America, he replied, "Yes, I want to come there very much. Now we are in Bombay trying to get permission from the government to build our temple, and it appears that we will possibly be getting the permission next week. If this works out, then I will immediately be going to Honolulu, and from Honolulu I can go directly to Mexico City, then Caracas. If the Bombay situation is not settled up, I may have to stay until mid-January." But not until the end of January did the Bombay municipality finally grant the no objection certificate. Srila Prabhupada was then free to travel. Prabhupada had said on different occasions that he traveled to keep his devotees spiritually alive. I want to read that sentence again. Prabhupada had said on different occasions that he traveled to keep his devotees spiritually alive. Although sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say he wanted to stay in one place and write his books, he regularly felt compelled to oversee personally the growth of his Krishna consciousness mission on each continent. His time was limited, he felt, and he wanted to strengthen his disciples in their execution of Krishna consciousness so they could continue in his absence. He had to travel, but even while traveling, he would continue his translation and commentary of the Srimad Bhagavatam wherever he stopped. Despite his advanced age of 80 years, despite the disruptive travel hours, the jet lag, and the inconveniences of waiting in airports and of customs delays, Prabhupada was determined to maintain his writing schedule wherever he went. Srila Prabhupada's literary paraphernalia was a dictating machine and a reference books, a secretary, Paramahamsa Swami, a personal servant, Srutakirti, and a Sanskrit student, Nitai, were Prabhupada's traveling entourage. In this way, he was prepared to preach and write anywhere and everywhere. I'll stop there, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Is there anyone who would like to continue from there? His first stop was from there. Would anyone like to continue?
Do you want me to continue, Mataji, if there's nobody there?
Sure, Mataji.
His first stop was in Paramhamsa Swami. It was always funny to be in the airport with Prabhupada. People would just come up and without any introduction say, "Hi, what are you doing?" And Prabhupada would start speaking with them on that level. It was really different than hearing him talk with the devotees. Sometimes they would come up with a weird question. Prabhupada would give a humorous answer, and often the person wouldn't understand and would leave. Only one disciple, Trivikrama Swami, was stationed in Hong Kong, but just before Srila Prabhupada's arrival, Pancha Dravida Swami arrived from Bangkok to greet Srila Prabhupada. Sudama Vipraswamy, who had disassociated himself from ISKCON, also showed up for Prabhupada's arrival. These three sannyasis greeted Prabhupada at the airport. Vipraswamy had rented a luxury suite at the Hong Kong Hilton for Srila Prabhupada and had arranged a speaking engagement in the Hilton's convention hall. About 200 Indians and a few Chinese attended. After speaking 40 minutes from the first verse of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada continued, "If you want to get out of Maya's activities, then you have to take to Krishna consciousness. There is no other way. This is a scientific movement. Anyone intelligent, any thoughtful person, he must take to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he is doomed." During Srila Prabhupada's 2-day stay, the devotees took him to a park in the heart of the city. It was so crowded with people that Srila Prabhupada declared it hellish. When they passed people doing Tai Chi exercises, Trivikrama Swami called such activity useless. "Do not criticize," Srila Prabhupada said. As they walked on, Sudama Vipraswamy told Prabhupada of the floods in Mayapur. The devotees had lived on the roof of a shack and had to fight off the snakes seeking shelter there. Srila Prabhupada appreciated. "Yes, you did much service at that time." Prabhupada asked of another devotee the difficulties he faced in Krishna consciousness. Each told of some incident of austerities. What was your most troublesome time in Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada?" Trivikrama Swami asked. Prabhupada became silent. Then said, "Better you don't ask." I'll stop there, Mataji.
Mataji, can I read?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
From here, what was your most troublesome time? Is that right, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Please go ahead, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
What was your most troublesome time in Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada? Trivikrama Swami asked. Prabhupada became silent, then said, "Better you don't ask." In the devotee's small apartment, Prabhupada affirmed that Hong Kong was an important place to preach. Even if only one man remained, they should still develop the center there. We can print Chinese Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada said. Someday China will open and we can go in. Panchadravida Swami had only come to visit Prabhupada, but Prabhupada told him, "You shall become our new manager for the Hong Kong Center." When Prabhupada said this, the other devotees responded, "Jai, Jai," but Panchadravida Swami Maharaj felt bewildered. "I have to stay in Hong Kong," he thought. But then he remembered the letter Prabhupada had just written him. Prabhupada had started that a devotee must be like a reaping machine. The Bengali saying is that a reaping machine will reap it in heaven or hell. So the devotee must serve Krishna in heaven or hell. Panchadravida had considered returning to India, but now Prabhupada said, "It is not very important if you go back to India. The only thing that is important is to continue service." The important thing was to distribute books in Hong Kong. Prabhupada told him it doesn't matter whether people came to the programs somehow he should publish books in Chinese language and distribute them. In this way, the work would go on. Tokyo, January 27, 28. Should I continue or stop, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, we can stop at this point because this will be a good point to continue next week. Thank you so much, Mataji. So, all of us can share realizations. We still have time, so everyone can share realizations. I welcome everyone on the call to please come forward and share your realizations from our reading today.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Kamalaki.
When Prabhupada went to the embassy to get the visa for the all these devotees who were with him, and this is how standard they do it in India at that time. I don't know how about now, but then the clerk was giving some hard trouble. Then Prabhupada raised his voice and he just chastised him. So then he became humble and then he did the job. He said yes, and so he did. So then Prabhupada then told devotees that I spoke very strongly, didn't I? Then he said yes, yes. Yes. But then Prabhupada said, but I can do that. He cannot. I'm
yeah. Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Mataji, for that.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Avinanda Mataji, would you like to share something?
Yes, Mataji, I have 3 points. In one, when Prabhupada was writing the letter, like he said that I will come when Hridayananda Goswami was asking him to come there to South America. He said if we get the permission now, then we will come. Like Prabhupada here, what I understand, he had 2 plans, one plan A and plan B, and this is a good thing and for a reminder for me, if one plan fails, the other plan we should be able to accept it as Krishna's will, and should not think it whatever I planned it got failed and get upset about it. And then and the other one, I like Mataji repeated it twice. It is so beautiful that different occasions that he traveled to keep his devotees spiritually alive. This is so beautiful. Yeah, and that's the point really struck to me. And towards the end, as Samagori Mataji read, that so the devotee must serve in heaven or hell. The only thing that is important is to continue service. Again, Prabhupada's nice instruction for all of us, like whatever it is, though it is difficult at the time of difficulties to think of Krishna, at least for me. But then Prabhupada's instruction goes there, so whether you are in hell or heaven, as a devotee should always serve, like the reaping machine Prabhupada mentioned. Yes, Mataji.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji, for the 3 key points. Very nice.
Thank you, Mataji.
Anyone else who wants to share? Anishwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Let me cut this off my Bluetooth. Hare Krishna. Hi, Bo. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
I'm on the Bluetooth and it's harder to talk. I just came on at the end, so I think most of the points you talked about, but particularly that point about how Srila Prabhupada continues to travel in order to keep his spiritual daughters, devotees, spiritual life alive, and it just immediately reminded me of when Mataji, because he too at this age and at this health, in all schedules, continues to travel continent to continent like he just did this past year, traveling all over South America, even in areas that the civil war was going on, and continuing to travel because the devotees have asked him, please come, and he realizes, same thing, he knows there's not much time, and he needs to do as much as possible in the time he had. It really, really brought it home to me how much they sacrificed for us and how much Srila Prabhupada sacrificed for us. We don't realize how much Srila Prabhupada went through because we don't see it. But when we read it, like, because we weren't there when it happened, but when we see exactly what he's going through, we realize, yes, he's an old man. And, you know, traveling in those days wasn't easy. You were waiting in lines and lines and, you know, so many stopovers and this and that. And he continued to travel. It just amazes me. You know, how much they do for
yeah. Thank you, Parneshwari Lakshmi Mataji. Very beautiful. Sunda Gopika Mataji, would you like to share something? Okay, Lalitangi Radha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah, I have one point that, yeah, every point is so good, but you know, everybody is sharing. The one point that I really liked is how Prabhupada is telling that, did you read what is there in the plates, and how you know, an intelligent person is always observant what's happening around. And he was telling that, you know, he had counted the number of cars in the Punjab Mail Express. And so he had told that exactly the same number of, you know, the bogies, the cars in there to his friend. So that was very nice. You know, that is an amazing quality of Prabhupada that I would say that, you know, it's very important to be successful in preaching, to be observant and also to understand the other's psychology. And one other point that that Prabhu was driving, I forgot, I didn't pay attention to his name, and the weather was horrible and he's cribbing in the heart, and Prabhupada is telling that rain is so important. And so it is, you know, nice that it's rain is nice. And this Prabhu was startled that as though he has heard his mind. And Shivananda Prabhu also shared this, and many Prabhupada's disciples have shared this.
Oh, my dropped. We do have so many people on the call, so I know everyone was listening in. So please, if anyone would like to share from what we have read, what you liked, please share with us.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just would like to share one point.
Yes, Mataji.
Like Parneshwari Mataji said, when I was listening to the reading today, I too, you know, felt the same thing. Like His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, he is going, you know, above and beyond his health condition and everything, and trying to give mercy so freely to everybody. So I just wanted to chime in on that, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Mataji. Very, very true. That's 100% true. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vranda Gopika Mataji.
Srila Prabhupada also explained that the temple is the place not for eating and sleeping, but as a base from which we send out our soldiers to fight with Maya. Fight with Maya means to drop thousands and millions of books into the lap of the conditioned soul. Just like during the war time, the bombs are remaining from the sky, like anything. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. And second thing, Srila Prabhupada also explained that when Prabhupada is preaching in India, but Vaishnava are not taking him seriously. But when all the Vaishnava came from the abroad, and they are following so strictly Srila Prabhupada's instruction and Sri Nityananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji's instruction, Shishi Shamsundar instructed that they have save their hair and dhoti and kurta, and they all are very sincerely worship Shishi Radha Shamsundar and Shishi Gaur Nitai. After seeing all of them, the Indian people are saying that they are a white elephant, and how sincerely they are following Srila Prabhupada. After that, our own Indian people will follow Srila Prabhupada very sincerely. Then, but Pranam Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Yes, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, that is so true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. We do have others, Vasavi Mataji, Anjana Gopika Mataji, and there are a couple of other numbers. Would anyone like to share?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am Vasavi.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, I listened today the class, Mataji. I remember one thing. Prabhupada used to teach. You have to teach something to attract to our ISKCON or to tell to Krishna consciousness. The thing is, he has to go to their level and attract to our Krishna consciousness. In the same way, I heard one thing is that in Juhi Beach, Prabhupada used to go to every day walking with his disciples, and he used to go on there. So many people are there. So Prabhupada used to tell to hello. Not he used to tell to Hare Krishna, right, Mataji? So that day he said the hello or hi. So disciple came to the temple and he asked, why Prabhuji, Guruji has to tell that Hare Krishna, right? So why you said hi? They said after next day they went and that person or what the person is telling to try to say to Prabhu is the Srila Prabhupada, he says to Hare Krishna. So that is the reason he used to go to low level, their level, and to attract to Krishna consciousness. In the same time, for example, if they come to the people, Mataji, see that first day they come, even that day only tell to everything is that we have to do like this, the sadhana bhakti, yoga bhakti, you have to tell everything like this. They will be so scared. So slowly you have to tell that chant and everything, then they will come to the Krishna conscious. So I like that so much, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Oh, that was such a lovely point, Vasavi Mataji. Even I also thought the same. I mean, Prabhupada, he really knows where to talk, when to talk, with whom to talk, how much to talk. Very nice. So beautifully said, Mataji. That is true. If everything was given to us on the first day, we would have run away. Yes. Very nice. Very nice, Mataji. Yeah. Anyone else has anything to share? Please share with us.
Mataji, can I add one more point, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji. Here, when when Prabhupada's disciple, he made himself away from ISKCON, and then just to see Srila Prabhupada, he came back, and Prabhupada did not chastise him or humiliate him or anything. He gave a bigger responsibility, and that's when that reaping machine comes into picture, the story. But Prabhupada is so beautifully engaging his disciple into services, more services for Krishna, Radha Krishna. So it's a big thing. We read so many things about so many people, our seniors, and it demotivates us. But at the same time, if Srila Prabhupada can forgive them, who are we to judge? At least who am I to judge anybody? They are Srila Prabhupada's soldiers. So we, anyway, whether or not whatever we read or come to know is true or not, we have to, let it go, because Srila Prabhupada is our only shelter. So yes, Mataji, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Avinanda Mataji. That is very true. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. And is there anyone else who wants to share anything, something that comes to your mind, or you just want to share with us? Okay. So, I just had a few I was thinking was interesting is towards the end, Prabhupada, especially while about preaching in China, he said that it doesn't matter, just start publishing books in Chinese. Doesn't matter what reach you get right away. Eventually, the reach will come. Eventually, you will really do. Once you start publishing books, people will eventually come. Don't worry about what's happening now. What is the situation now? So I thought that is very important for all of us to know that whatever possible we can do from our side without worrying too much about who's getting benefited and all that, because eventually the benefit will come. It will reach people. People will come to Krishna consciousness. And the other point is how Prabhupada and the disciples were sitting and talking and talking about the tough times in Krishna consciousness. So they were just telling Prabhupada how much, they went through during being in different places. And Prabhupada at that time, he was so compassionate. And he said, yes, you have all done so much actually for this movement. All of you have sacrificed a lot. So that mood was also very nice. And when he was asked Prabhupada said, no, I'm not even going to talk about it. It was Prabhupada. He was very, very sweet. That's how he was. So I like those two things, very nice. And of course, there is this other thing, Trivikrama Swami, this paragraph here, I'm also screening it. I thought that was also very sweet. Trivikrama Swami, what happened during Srila Prabhupada's 2-day stay, the devotees took him to a park in the heart of the city. It was so crowded with people that Srila Prabhupada declared it as hellish. When they doing Tai Chi exercises, Trivikrama Swami called such activity useless. And then Prabhupada said, do not criticize. And they walked on. I thought even that was very nice, because if they are doing something, some path they are trying to follow, there are those people there were sincerely doing it. So Prabhupada was like, who are we to criticize? Just leave it. That attitude was also very, very sweet. Thanks. The reading was very beautiful. Thanks to everybody for joining and giving us your valuable association. There are others as well on the call. If there's someone who wants to share something, please go ahead. Okay, I think we have covered everyone. So thank you all so much for joining again and giving us your very valuable association. Please join us next week as well with the bhajan and the Prabhupada Lilamrta reading. So we'll end the call here. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, and we hope we have Shyama Supriya Mataji next week for our reading to make the reading beautiful. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.